One of my favorite and most used tech tools is EdPuzzle. EdPuzzle is an awesome website where you as a teacher can take short little videos, assign them to your students. You can tell if they've watched the whole video, and then you can assign questions within the video for students to answer. And better yet, NGPF has an already created EdPuzzle library with the questions already built out for you so you can use them immediately in your classroom. Hi, my name is Amanda Volts. I'm a personal finance teacher at St. Clair High School in St. Clair, Michigan, and I'm creating some short little tutorial videos on getting started with some tech tools. So whether you're teaching online, you're teaching remotely right now, or you're just looking to use some more tech in your classroom, hopefully these little videos give you the basics to get started with using some of these tools. So today I'm going to show you EdPuzzle, which like I said, I use a lot in my classroom. And EdPuzzle honestly works great with a lot of different learning management systems, in particular Google Classroom. So I'm a Google Classroom user, and EdPuzzle links really well to Google Classroom if you also use it, which I might be able to show you some of that today. So the website is edpuzzle.com. If you don't have an account already, you're going to click this sign up button. And then once you click sign up, it's going to ask if you're a teacher or a student. So I'm a teacher. And then again, if you do use the Google Classroom and you're using a lot of Google apps and tools in your classroom, I would highly encourage you just to sign in with your Google account. Because what that does is it links all of these Google tools and web tools together and makes the system really flawless when you're using them in the classroom. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. I'm a teacher. And again, I use my Google account really to log into all of these so I can link them very easily to my Google Classroom when I'm using them. Again, you would have your students do the same thing. So if EdPuzzle is totally new to you and them, they would do the same thing where they go to edpuzzle.com and then they would sign up. And again, I would encourage you to use your Google account, but you don't have to have a Google account. If you're a school that doesn't use that, you can create a username and password as you probably saw on the last screen. Now, when you get in, your screen's going to look something like this. So they're going to show you a bunch of trending videos or suggested videos, but the main little tab that you're going to use a lot is the My Content tab. That's where you can start building out your own videos and save them in your content. So when I click on My Content, you can see that I have some folders of different content, and within those folders are some different videos that I've already created. You can create the folders, you don't have to. I just created the folders over here by adding content and then new folder. That's how I kind of organize this a bit, but it'll immediately just start putting videos in like you see down here at the bottom when you start creating them. And then you can pull videos from a bunch of different websites and areas, like you can pull right from, there are already created EdPuzzle videos for you on EdPuzzle. So you can search for some of those. You can search Khan Academy videos, TED Talks, YouTube, all sorts of platforms to find a video. Awesome thing though, NGPF has already done all that work. So I'm going to show you how to find those and then put them in your EdPuzzle account. Also, before I do that, let me show you that at the top of your screen, you have a grade book. So as you're transferring grades, maybe to your grade book or looking at the grades that students got, because the multiple choice questions can automatically grade in EdPuzzle, which is awesome for teachers. Short answer questions, you'll have to grade yourself. You have to go in and give them a grade or check that it's correct. And then what you're going to want to start with is building out your classes. So let me start there, and then I'll show you how to pull one from the NGPF website and put it in your EdPuzzle account. So here at the top, I'm going to click on My Classes. And you see that I have a bunch of classes here already. I have one that I created in a previous little webinar, but I'm going to delete that real quick. If you're following me, you can see, yep, I can delete it. It's very forgiving. You can delete whatever. I would encourage you just to I did a test class to start, kind of practice on how to throw things in there and play with it a little bit before I sent it out to my students. But you can see that I have 5 classes here. I teach 5 of the same course all day long. I teach financial management all day, every day. So even though it's the same content with the same videos, I would still create a class in EdPuzzle for every section that you have. And what I do, and you can see the little icon right there, I'm a Google Classroom user. So if you are too, you can very easily take the students in your Google Classroom and just switch them over and create the EdPuzzle account immediately. And how you do that is over here on the left, you can add a new class. you can create a new class, or there's the Google Classroom feature where you can just filter them right directly from your Google Classroom into EdPuzzle. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to create a new class right now, and we'll just call my class Personal Finance. And I'm just going to put NGPF after it just for this little video that I'm doing. And I'm just going to run it as a classic class. And then I click Create Class. And so now I have another class down here. It would list, and here's where my assignments will appear if I have a due date on them, if I don't have a due date, but now I need to get my students in. So I've created my EdPuzzle course, and I want my students to be part of this class so I can see all of the answers to the questions that they are answering in their videos. So how you can do this is click on the Students tab, and you can invite your students two different ways. Is you could just give them this code. So you can send out go to edpuzzle.com, and here's the code to get into my class. So if teachers have an EdPuzzle account already, maybe they have a different teacher who uses it, they can still just add into your class. They'll have multiple classes here, just like I do as a teacher, and you can do it with that code. The other way you can do it is I can click on Invite Students, and I can give them this link. And just see the code just adds into that link. So the link just gets them in immediately also. And then you'll start to see your students appear right here. So let me just click on like one of my courses. When I click on my course and I click on students, you can see all of them are added in. And their email also appeared because I just filtered them from my Google Classroom. I did the other option, but you'll start to see your students appear right underneath that Students tab. Okay, so now how do I start adding content to my EdPuzzle account? The easiest way, the best way, is to not reinvent the wheel, but to take what NGPF has already created for you. And NGPF at ngpf.org has a video library. So under their resources tab on their website, they have a video library of curated videos all related to personal finance that you can use in your classroom. And as it tells you right at the very top, you can search their library just for EdPuzzle videos that are already created. So I can go into the search, I can type in EdPuzzle, and it's filtering only those that are already created for me and EdPuzzle questions already done. You could go ahead and edit them if you want to, but I would start here, pull what they've already done for you, and then customize it how you want to. So I'm just gonna pull the what's a credit score, CalPen explains what a credit score is. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that video. I just clicked on the link. It pops it up in EdPuzzle as you can see here, but right now at the top you can see this is NGPF's video. So I want to be able to maybe customize this or edit it a bit before I send it to my students. So what I can do, and I'm just shifting my screen, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm just gonna make a copy of this. And what it's going to do is it's going to copy it to my content in EdPuzzle. So now when I go back into my EdPuzzle account here, when I go to the very top and I go to, I'm just going to click on content here, this My Content button, you're going to see that that particular video pops up for me. It copied it from NGPF to now my EdPuzzle account. So when I click on it, I'm able to customize this, do what I want with it before I actually assign it to my students. So if you've never seen EdPuzzle before, what you're looking at is this is a 2-minute and 47-second video. And these little pings here, these little like teardrops, are questions that are already created. So when I click on that, I'm just going to click on that one little ping there, I can see that as that video's going, at that particular time, this question pops up. And it's a multiple choice question. So here's the nice thing is the multiple choice questions will automatically grade for you in EdPuzzle. So the student will be watching and then pop, up comes a video. And so then they'll answer that video. By the way, you can turn on the option of not letting students skip ahead. I do that on every video. They have to watch the whole thing. They can't just skip ahead to the questions. And that's an option in EdPuzzle, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'm just going to skip that to show you that the video just keeps going. And then once it hits that little question, then I can go in or it will pop up for the student. Now, if you wanted to edit this and you're like, well, I want to add a couple other things to it, you can click on this edit button right here. I'm actually just going to push my little screen over here. I'm not sure if you see me shifted or not, but I can. So now here I'm in my editing window on EdPuzzle. You can cut things, like you're able to cut and trim the videos if you want to. So if you found something maybe not on the NGPF website, on YouTube or whatever, you're able to cut it. You can do voiceovers where like it'll interject in the video your voice like, hey, this is an important point, or I want to remind you of this. You can add that in there. But most often you're going to use that questions tab, and you're able to insert questions of multiple choice, open-ended questions, and notes just mean like a written comment, like it says an audio note, just a heads up to your students. You can add those little notes in. I will tell you that the multiple choice automatically grade because you select a correct answer, where, let me just click on it. Here's my multiple choice. So I could type in my question here. I'm just going to write question, and then you can type in your multiple choice answers, answer number 1, answer number 2, just to show you this. And then see, I've checked this one, so that's going to be the correct answer. This one is wrong, this one is wrong. So you're able to add those in, and then you would save it. And like it says, these will grade automatically by you selecting the correct answer as you build this out. If I did, I'm just going to cancel that. If I did an open-ended question and I typed my question in here, yeah, these are great because it requires your students to come up with their own answer and think a bit more critically, but it will not automatically grade. You would have to go in and grade those. So I'm going to go ahead and just cancel that. And once you have it how you want your video, you just go ahead and click finish here at the top. And now I want to assign it to my students. So I'm going to click assign here on the right hand side. It asks me which class I want to assign it to. I have a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to assign it to that personal finance NGPF class, assign it to all of them. You can set your due date on it. So I want my students to maybe watch it by Wednesday, so I can add that due date. Heads up, you got to click save on the due date here. So I got to click save. Here's that prevent skipping. So if you don't want your students to be able to skip ahead to look at, I just want to answer the questions and be done with this. If you want them to watch the whole video, turn that on. I do all the time. And if you want to turn on closed captions, you can do that here as well. And then if you linked it from Google Classroom, you can just post it right to Google Classroom. So you see how the Google kind of intertwines, where if you pulled all your students in from that Google Classroom, you will have the option. We didn't do that, remember, but if you did, you could check post it right there, and it will automatically post the link to that EdPuzzle video on Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this, and then you'll see there is a go live button. I don't want to get into that too much on this video, but it's an option where go live means students are in their EdPuzzle account. You play the video on like a smartboard or projector, but on their devices, the questions pop up. So that is something, if maybe that's intriguing to you based on your setup, that you could use in the classroom. But I use EdPuzzle more with like headphones on, students doing it individually. But this is an option that's available in EdPuzzle for you to do it as a live video with the questions popping up on their screen. So now if I had students in here, I would be able to see my students and the questions right in my EdPuzzle account. So let me show you an example in my classes. Here's my first hour. And here is a couple assignments that I have. You can see I did like a compound interest, mutual funds, and index funds. So if I click on my assignment, I can see all of my students. This student didn't watch it. So you can see he never watched it. He didn't turn this in. I can see that, excuse me, this student here watched about 90% of the video, and she did it on time. I can scroll down here and I see that all of these watched 100% of the video, turned in on time, the date in which they did it. And so I can also filter up here in this particular video. I can filter by questions and start looking at the questions and answers. So if I click on this student, for example, it shows you everything. Like she watched all of it just one time, the amount of time she spent on each section. You can see all of that and go like to the next student, all of that information is right there. So let me just go back into my classes again, show you another video here. Here's another one, and then I can see who did it, who didn't. The grades are already in there and added into EdPuzzle. And I can also, the other video didn't have any questions. I just had them watch it. That's why there was no questions tab. But here, if I click on questions, I can see their answers to the questions, and I can grade them if need be. So I can click on that and I can see who got it right, who got it wrong, go to the next question. All of it's included right in EdPuzzle. So EdPuzzle is an awesome web tool for you to use in your classroom to have students watch short little videos answer some questions. It can be done online, it can be done live, and NGPF already did the work for you by having the videos created in their video library.